The chamber was alive. Its walls breathed faintly, pulsing with veins of metal and flesh, and the crimson light of a dying star bled through towering windows. Hundreds of alien dignitaries filled the tiered balconies above, their whispers a low chorus of hunger and amusement. To them, this was entertainment, a ritual as old as conquest itself. At the center, on obsidian tiles polished smooth by centuries of executions, Commander Elias Kyle was forced to his knees. Shackles bound his wrists, their black alloy biting into skin already raw from transit. His breath came steady despite the weight of 1,000 eyes pressing down on him. He would not tremble. Not here, not before them. Boots clicked behind him. The guards were insectoid, their limbs jointed at sharp angles, spears humming with restrained energy. One pressed a clawed hand against his back until the shackles clanged against stone. Across the chamber, 2 figures were dragged into view. Chains rattled as the guards shoved them forward. Elias's chest tightened. Leora, his younger sister, fought every step. Her hair, dark and tangled, fell across a face that blazed with fury. Even bruised, she looked ready to tear the guards apart with her bare hands. Celine, older, calmer, walked with quiet dignity, her pale eyes fixed ahead. She whispered something Elias couldn't hear. But he knew the tone, steady, soothing, the same voice that had carried him through darker nights long ago. The sisters were forced to their knees opposite him. Between them and Elias, a black dais rose like an altar. Upon it stood a single throne of bone-white metal, shaped as if carved from the ribcage of some long-dead god. And there he was, Lord Varix, tall, draped in armor that shimmered like oil on water. The alien lord stepped onto the dais with measured grace. His skin was pale and stretched too tightly over elongated bones. His eyes, dark, lidless voids, swept across the chamber, silencing the whispers without a word. When he finally spoke, the sound was velvet wrapped around steel. "Commander Elias Kyle," Varix said. "Human, you have entered our dominion with arrogance. You believed your kind might stand equal among the stars. Today you learn humility." The audience stirred with amusement. Elias kept his gaze locked on the throne. Varix extended one hand toward the sisters. "Here is the trial. You will choose one sister to live. The other dies here now before all. Refuse to choose, and both shall perish. Your earth will follow, consumed in fire." Gasps rippled from balconies above. A few alien lords hissed approval. Others leaned forward, savoring the spectacle. Leora spat at the floor. "Cowards. You think we'll beg?" A guard struck her across the mouth. She staggered, but her glare never faltered. Celine leaned closer to her. "Don't waste your strength," she murmured. Then her eyes lifted to Elias. Calm, trusting. Elias's pulse hammered, but he forced his voice steady. "Why me? Varix till?" Above them, the herald stepped forward, insectoid mandibles clacking. "The trial of choice begins." The crowd roared approval. Drums of living hide thundered from the balconies, the sound vibrating through Elias's ribs. Varix leaned forward in his throne, pale hands steepled, void eyes fixed upon the human commander. "Choose," Varix whispered, his voice carrying through the chamber. "One life. One death or none." The spears of the guards lowered toward Leora and Celine. The chamber stilled, every being straining to hear the answer that would define humanity's place among the stars. Elias raised his head. Chains rattled as he straightened his back. His eyes locked on Varix's, unblinking. "You mistake silence," he said evenly, "for surrender." And in that moment, as the crimson light of the dying star washed over him, the chamber realized something it had never seen before, a human who would not break. The chamber pulsed with sound, drums of stretched hide, claws striking stone, voices whispering in 100 alien tongues. All of it circled Elias like a storm, yet his focus held on the throne and the 2 women chained at its base. The herald's voice carried across the chamber. "The human commander has heard the terms. He will speak, and the judgment will be carried out." Varix leaned forward, void black eyes gleaming. No more delay. "Choose, Commander. Choose, and prove to all that your kind bleeds as any other." Elias drew a slow breath. "Why such spectacle, Lord Varix? Why not slit their throats in silence and be done?" The alien lord smiled, razor thin. "Because silence breeds doubt. This trial will breed certainty. Every species watching will know humans are no different. They will break when pressed. From the balconies came approving murmurs. Some laughed. Others hissed like steam escaping vents. Elias let his gaze sweep upward, meeting their stares one by one. The more they watched, the more he understood. This was never about his sisters alone. It was about the galaxy's perception of humanity. Leora strained against her chains. "Don't listen to him, Elias. He's nothing but a coward hiding behind ceremony." A guard slammed the butt of a spear into her back. She gasped, but kept glaring. Celine shifted closer, pressing her shoulder to Leora's. "Save your strength. Don't waste it on him." Then her voice lowered, soft but sharp. "Elias, listen to me." He turned toward her, and the weight in her eyes nearly undid him. Calm, certain, though fear quivered beneath. "You can't save us both," she whispered. "Pick her. Leora has fight in her. She'll carry humanity's banner further than I ever could." Leora twisted, incredulous. "No! You think I'd let you decide for me? Elias, listen, choose me instead." Celine's mind, her steadiness, that's what humanity needs. "I'm reckless. I'll burn out sooner or later. Let me go." Their words crashed over him like waves. His throat tightened. "Enough." But neither stopped. "Elias!" Leora snapped. "Do it before they strike us both. Choose me. Don't let her die." Celine's voice cut through, steady, resolute. "No, pick her. She's the one who'll fight long after you're gone." Their argument filled the chamber, and the audience drank it in like wine. Alien lords chuckled, pointing with clawed fingers. "Look at the humans," their eyes seemed to say. "Even their families turn on each other when the blade nears." Elias closed his eyes against the noise, against the sight of his sisters pleading for death in each other's place. His chest ached with the cruelty of it. This was the real weapon. The ritual was designed to fracture love into betrayal. He opened his eyes, staring at Varix. "You knew this would happen." The alien lord inclined his head. "Of course. It always happens. Blood betrays blood when survival demands it. You see now why your kind cannot endure among us. You lack the will to rise above instinct." Elias shook his head slowly. "No, what I see is your fear." Whispers rippled across the balconies. Varix's lips twitched, the faintest crack in his composure. "Fear? You dress it in ritual and call it strength," Elias said, voice low but steady. "But only a coward forces another to choose between family. You know humans won't kneel to your throne, so you try to break us from within. You're not proving power, you're proving desperation." The chamber stirred. Some dignitaries murmured uneasily. A few even nodded. Faint sparks of doubt ignited. Varix rose to his full height, towering over the dais. His cloak rippled like liquid shadow. "Words will not save them. The time is nearly spent. Speak the name of the one who lives." The herald's mandibles clacked. 10 breaths remain. Elias looked at his sisters. Both were crying now, though neither begged. Leora's jaw clenched in fury. Celine's chin lifted in unshakable resolve. They were ready to die, each willing to burn for the other. His heart ached with the weight of it. How could he choose? How could anyone? Yet he understood at last. This was no choice at all. It was a blade aimed at the core of what made them human. He bowed his head. "Trust me," he whispered. Leora froze, breath caught in her throat. Celine's lips parted, then closed. They understood, or at least they wanted to believe. 5 breaths remain, the herald intoned. The guards raised their spears. The audience leaned forward, desperate for the moment of betrayal. Elias lifted his head. His voice, when it came, was calm, clear, and carried across the chamber. "You mistake silence," he said, "for surrender." Gasps rippled through the balconies. Varix's eyes narrowed to slits. The herald hesitated. 3 breaths remain. Varix raised a hand, halting the count. His gaze bored into Elias like a blade. "Then speak, or they die together." Elias met his stare without flinching. "Do it?" The uproar rolled through the chamber like thunder. Voices clashed, some howling for Elias's execution, others demanding to see whether Varix would truly carry out his threat. The alien lord raised one clawed hand, and silence fell with unnatural speed, as though the very air bowed to his command. Varix descended the dais, each step echoing on the polished stone. His cloak of obsidian scales dragged behind him, catching sparks of the dying star's crimson light. He circled Elias slowly, studying the chains that bound him. "You refuse the trial," he said, his tone calm, but the silence around it made every word sharp. "Do you think your defiance elevates you? It does not. It cheapens your family's sacrifice. Your sisters offered themselves for one another, yet you spat on their love with empty bravado." Elias's throat burned, but he forced the words through steady lips. "They offered themselves because they're stronger than you'll ever understand. You wanted betrayal. You got loyalty instead. That frightens you." Varix paused at his shoulder. The alien lord's breath was cold, metallic. "You think I am afraid of love? What a quaint weakness. In this galaxy, loyalty buys nothing but graves." Celine's voice rang from the floor. "Then why build your throne on the spectacle of breaking it?" The chamber stirred again. Guards stiffened, unsure whether to silence her. Varix turned, his expression unreadable. "You are clever. But cleverness will not save you." Leora barked a laugh, raw and bitter. "That's because you've never faced humans in a real fight. You hide behind trials and shadows because you know what happens when we're unleashed." Gasps rippled from the balconies. The sisters had found their voices, and the audience could not look away. Varix straightened, the faintest tremor tightening his jaw. "Your kind mistakes stubbornness for strength. It will be your undoing." He snapped his claws. The guards moved at once, dragging Leora and Celine apart, stretching the chains until they cut into flesh. Elias surged forward, but iron links jerked him back. "Stop!" The Lord's voice rose, deeper now, resonating through the hall. "If you will not choose, then I will. I will show the galaxy what becomes of those who defy Zarathi law." He pointed at Celine. "This one dies." Leora screamed, straining against her bonds. "No, take me!" Celine shook her head, silent tears tracing her face, but her chin lifted. She mouthed only one word: fight. The guard raised a hooked blade above her throat. Elias's vision tunneled, heart slamming against his ribs. The world shrank to that single gleam of steel. "Wait!" Elias roared. His voice cracked, but it carried. The guard froze, awaiting Varix's command. The alien lord turned, intrigued. "So, at last the human chooses." Elias's chest heaved. Sweat trickled down his neck, mixing with dust. He had no plan, only instinct and the roaring certainty that if Celine died here, he would never recover. He pointed at Celine. "This one dies." Leora screamed, straining against her bonds. "No, take me!" Celine shook her head, silent tears tracing her face, but her chin lifted. She mouthed only one word: fight. The guard raised a hooked blade above her throat. Elias's vision tunneled, heart slamming against his ribs. The world shrank to that single gleam of steel. "Wait!" Elias roared. His voice cracked, but it carried. The guard froze, awaiting Varix's command. The alien lord turned, intrigued. "So, at last the human chooses." Elias's chest heaved. Sweat trickled down his neck, mixing with dust. He had no plan, only instinct and the roaring certainty that if Celine died here, he would never recover. But if he begged, if he named one, the trial's purpose would be fulfilled. Humanity would be marked as fractured. He steadied his breath, forcing calm into his veins. "You're right about one thing," he said. "I am choosing." His eyes burned into Varix's. "But I'm not choosing between my sisters. I'm choosing between silence and truth. And the truth is this: you don't have the courage to kill them." The audience erupted. Laughter, outrage, disbelief. The herald struck the floor with his staff to restore order. Varix tilted his head, studying Elias as though dissecting a puzzle. "You wager your sisters' lives on my restraint? Bold and foolish." "Not restraint," Elias said. "Reputation. You think killing them proves strength? But it only proves you fear what they represent. Humans who won't break. Sisters who die for each other. Kill them, and you make martyrs. Let them live, and you'll spend every night wondering when the galaxy starts to wonder if maybe, just maybe, humanity is stronger than you." The words struck like stones into still water. Ripples spread across the chamber. A few dignitaries muttered, no longer with scorn, but with unease. Celine closed her eyes briefly, a tear sliding free. Leora clenched her jaw, shoulders squared. Both understood what Elias had done. He'd turned the spectacle on its head. Varix's claws flexed. His voice dropped, venomous and quiet. "You twist the stage to your own tail. Commander, Dangerous, inspiring perhaps, to weak minds. He turned toward the balconies. But inspiration without power is nothing but ash. Watch closely, all of you. See what becomes of fragile hope. He raised his arm. The guard tensed to strike. Elias's pulse surged. He had only seconds. His eyes darted. Chains, spears, the dais, the guards' positions. 100 details sharpened into focus. He forced his voice to rise above the chaos. "If she dies," he thundered, "then I swear by every star in this system, humanity will never stop. Not when you burn our homes, not when you cage us, not when you murder us in ritual halls. Kill her, and you light a fire that will never die." The chamber shook with the echo of his words. Some dignitaries stood murmuring. A faction of them nodded grimly, as though measure. The chains bit into Elias's wrists as the guards dragged him and his sisters into the adjoining hall. Gone was the ritual pomp of the throne chamber. Here the walls were bare stone, slick with condensation, lit by the steady pulse of crystalline lamps. The audience remained behind, but the echoes of their uproar clung to the air like smoke. Varix strode ahead of them, his cloak whispering over the floor. "You've delayed the inevitable," he said without turning. "But delay is not victory. You've only bought yourself a harsher lesson." Leora spat blood, chin raised. "If sparing Selene was a lesson, it wasn't the one you intended." Selene added softly. Every dignitary out there heard him falter. "They'll question you now whether you like it or not." Varix halted at a massive iron gate. With a flick of his claw, the mechanisms groaned open. Beyond stretched a vast arena, half-shadowed, half-illuminated by shafts of crimson light from the broken sky above. The floor was sand and shattered stone, stained darker in places where blood had seeped long ago. A roar rose from the other side. Hundreds, maybe thousands of voices. The trial had only shifted stages. The guards shoved Elias forward. He stumbled but regained his footing. "Another spectacle?" he asked, voice hoarse but steady. "Of course," Varix said. "The galaxy does not feast on words alone. It must drink blood." He gestured, and the herald's amplified voice carried across the arena. "Behold, the humans defy choice. Now they will prove their strength or perish." Gates thundered open on the far side. From the shadows lumbered creatures bred for war, hulking forms plated with chitin, claws curved like scythes, eyes burning with chemical rage. 3 of them, each towering twice a man's height. Leora swore under her breath. "They're going to loose beasts on us while we're chained?" Elias flexed against his bonds. "No, they'll want more theater than that." He was right. Spears clattered and the guards struck their chains loose. The weight fell away, leaving raw skin and aching arms. Weapons were tossed at their feet, deliberately meager, a short blade for Leora, a rusted spear for Selene, nothing for Elias. He pointed at the watching dignitaries, his voice carrying over the sand. "Remember what you saw here. Not betrayal, not fear. Humanity fights, bleeds, and rises together. And if that terrifies you, good. It should." Murmurs rippled across the balconies. Some alien lords turned to each other, uneasy. The seeds of doubt had been sown. Varix's smile returned, brittle and strained. "Enjoy your moment. I'll strip it from you piece by piece until nothing remains." The gates clanged open again, and guards poured in. Spears leveled at the siblings, but they didn't flinch. Leora lifted her chin defiantly. Selene tightened her grip on her broken spear. Elias spread his stance, ready to fight until his last breath. But the guards didn't advance. They formed a perimeter instead, wary eyes flicking toward the corpses of the fallen beasts. The herald's voice boomed uncertainly. "The trial is concluded." The words echoed like a fracture-splitting stone. Elias glanced at his sisters. Both nodded once, silent but sure. They had survived. More than that, they had shown. The arena lights dimmed, and the roar of the crowd swelled again, divided and discordant. Varix's eyes never left Elias's. Hatred burned there. But so too did the faint shadow of something he could never admit aloud. Doubt. Elias straightened, bruised and bloodied, but unbowed. Whatever came next, the galaxy had witnessed what it meant to be human. And that spark, once lit, would not be extinguished.